Yo, welcome back to my Alexa, shut up. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. As you know from the thumbnail, today we'll be recreating this complex dashboard design inside Figma. As I do that, I'll be sharing lots and lots of tips and tricks that will help you throughout your design journey. This will be a very detailed step-by-step video, so stick around till the end. Without any further ado, let's get started. I already have the design here in Figma. If you don't know how to download Figma, you can just go to Google and search for Figma download, and the first link should be good. Just choose your workspace, whatever Windows or Mac, and just download, and you can sign in through Google. Once you do that, just create a new draft and you're good to go. So I have this frame ready here. So first thing, we'll start with the breadcrumb and these notification icon and the profile icon. For the breadcrumb, I'll just copy this text for now, okay, and add that in an auto layout. To add that, into an auto layout, I can just press Shift A, which will add into an auto layout, or you can just right click and say add auto layout. See, it is now removed. If I right click and I can say add auto layout, but I suggest you to remember the shortcut as it will be very helpful. For the icon, I'm just copying this but for you, I'm recommending a website. Go to remix icon, and here you can search for, let's say, arrow. See, I have so many options. I can just choose whatever I'm happy with. See, this arrow, I can copy it and paste it inside this. See, and I'll duplicate this few times, 3 times, and I'll also duplicate this, bring this side, duplicate it one more time. For the non-selected options, I'll select all of them, reduce the weight to medium, and change the color to secondary. I'm using styles, so if you don't know how to create styles, let's say you have this color, I'll detach it. Let's say you have this color and I want this to be a style. I can just click on this icon and click on plus and name this color, for example, secondary, right? So I already have the styles ready, so I'm not going to create that. Anyway, so now we have a breadcrumb. I'll delete this. I'll bring this inside this frame. This is already in auto layout, and now we need to create this profile icon and this notification icon. For the profile, I'm just going to take a frame. What is the size of this? Oops. What is the size of this? 40, right? So I'm going to take 40 and completely round the corners, like 500. For the image, I'm just going to copy and paste the same thing. Oops. Copy, paste the same thing. Adjust the size. And for the notification icon, I'm just going to take this for now. Again, I told you can go to remix icon for the notification for any icons. Again, I'll add this into an auto layout, center align this. Now I'll bring this inside this. As this was already in auto layout, I'll just explain. By default, it will be like this. To space items, you can just say the spacing between as auto, and this will completely stretch it out. Now next thing is this. We need to create a heading and few descriptive items. For the text, I'm just going to copy and paste the same thing here. And for this thing, again, I'll take a text T on, just hit T on your keyboard and it will appear. I'll say items. This is very big, so I'm going to reduce it to 14. Line height to auto and 0 spacing. Okay. Now I'll duplicate it once more, or duplicate it one more time, and reduce the weight to regular or medium and change the color to secondary. And this will be my primary. I have named them as primary, secondary and tertiary, but you can do as you wish. Primary, right? Primary. Here. So I have both of these ready. I can select them and add them in an auto layout. And I'll also add a semicolon here, just like this. Now spacing between is 6. I can reduce it to 4. I'll duplicate this few times, 1, 2, 3, right? And now I'll select all of them and add into an auto layout. Now between these I need spacers, right, these little spacers. So I'll copy this for now. These are just line items. You can just create using the line tool here. You can select this line tool here and just draw a line just like this, right. Now I'll just bring this here, duplicate it one more time and duplicate it once more. Okay, now we have this beautiful thing ready. I'll just rename them quickly. Items, some numbers. Next thing is variance. Okay, and again some number. The set ID, some ID, and some number. Okay, so here if you see there's a icon again. So for that I'll select this and add this into auto layout. For the icon I'll again show you how to copy from here. I'll just say copy. Here I have this icon. This is very different, so I'm just gonna paste it here, but I'm gonna use this one anyway. Copy this and paste it here. Now this is set to fixed. I want this to be hug and this to be filled or hug. I'll reduce the spacing. 4 should be fine. And now we have the URL here. URL, and for the link I'll just say www. Something like drive.com, something like / something like this, right? And I'll change the color to blue. Blue 300, blue 400. So just to make it look like a link. It will be truncated in the original designs, but if you can also just do like ... or if you want to truncate it anyway, you can just, let's say it is like this. Click on the text, click on this icon, more options here, truncate text, right? Just click on this truncate. Now if I reduce the size of this, it will truncate to whatever size you want. Now that we have this, I'll select both of them and add them again in an auto layout. Shift A, and now we have this thing ready. I'll also reduce the space between these items. This is very high, something like 24. Yeah, 24 looks good. Now I'll also reduce the space between both of them. I'll try 24 again, and I'll set the line height to auto as it is now 40. Yeah, this looks good. Maybe I'll reduce it a bit more, 18. Yeah, this looks good. Now I'll bring that here, make sure this is aligned. There was some margin, I'll remove that, padding, remove that, and make sure this is aligned. And to create this grid, you can just let's say this is a frame. This is a frame. I can just go to layout grid, click on plus, click on this option, click on this icon and select columns, and for, let's say, I'll set something like 40 as a margin, and the gutter is space between each grid, so something like 40 again. So for this, doing this, you'll be able to create the grid. Okay, and now what are we doing? We need to create this button and one more secondary button for more options, right? For that, again, I have the button componentized, but I'll show you how to do that. For that, I'll take this text, add this into an auto layout, add a stroke for the secondary, and something like choose a gray color. I have the style, so I'm just going to choose gray 400 and should be good. I'll also round the corners, something like 8, too much, 4. Okay, this looks good. And again, if you want a primary button, you can just duplicate this, fill it with primary color. I have purple as a primary color. Select this and select and make the color as a white, and I'll also remove the stroke. Now we have a primary and a secondary button. Now if you want this component as, you can select both of them, go here and create component set. I'll rename this as let's say secondary button and this as first button or primary button. For now I'm just renaming because I have the components ready as primary and secondary button, so I'm just going to use this text for now as a demonstration for the demonstration. And now let's say you want to use buttons everywhere. You can just select any you can also search from here. I need to rename this demo button. Okay, now I'll be able to find that here, demo button. Here, demo button. I can just drag and drop it. Now I'll be able to choose primary or secondary just from here, and if you make any changes here, it will be reflected. Let's say I add a background color, it will be added in all the child elements. See, if I make any changes, it will be added here, just like this. Simple, right? So I'm going to delete this as I already have that. I'm just going to copy this, and again to create this you can duplicate. I'll detach this, detach instance, and here I'll just use this icon. Let's say you copy from remix. I'm just gonna select this and hit Command Shift R to copy, replace. See, simple. So minimum height is set. I'm gonna remove that. Okay, and select both of them and add them into an auto layout. Simple, right? Now I'll add this thing in an auto layout one more time. Okay, now we have one more auto layout. I'll cut this and paste inside this. Okay, now we have them vertically stacked, but I want them to be stacked horizontally. Just like we did here, we need a space in between, so I'm just gonna select the spacing drop down and set auto. Now if I drag this, it should work. I'll also remove the padding here, and from here I'll adjust this to the grid, okay, and center align it just like this. Now we have that ready. We'll move ahead with this component. Okay, starting with this text. As you know already how to create text, so I'm just going to duplicate this thing, just create two texts and add them in an auto layout. I'll also create this search bar. If you don't know how to, you can just again take your button, remove all the properties, detach the instance. I'll just say detach instance, remove all the properties, and the stroke should be only at the bottom. Here we have this, and I can paste the search icon inside this. I'll bring this side. Now we have this ready. I'll remove the padding and again set the spacing as auto, not auto really, spacing like 12, and this should be good. And I can say something like search for this, that, or whatever, you get the idea. I'll also change the color to secondary, copy this, and no, not copy, I'll just bring it here, add both of them into an auto layout just like this. I'll also set the spacing as auto. We don't need this, but if you are scaling designs, or let's say you are scaling it to a different length or different width, it will be helpful at that time. I'll show you later. Okay, what we need is this table header. I have this table header here and not inside this component. There's a reason, right? For example, let's say this is this thing is scrolling. You want this to stay or stick to the bottom and only scroll this. For I'll show you. Let's say I have both of them here. Okay, let's say I have this. I want this to scroll like this. Let's say this is behind. I want this to scroll. I'll bring this up. I want it to scroll like this. I'll show you. Scroll like this, right? So that this is stable or sticky at the top, right? So if you are making prototype, it will be helpful. So think ahead and design your designs. Okay, we'll create these headers for the tables. For that, I already have the things ready so that I don't waste much time. This is simple again. Auto layout and a text inside it, and the height is set to 48, I guess. Yeah, 48. For the table header, I'll also add a stroke at the bottom and set it to bottom only. Choose the color to maybe again secondary or gray 800. 800 is too much. I'll go with 500. Okay, so we have the table header here. We need 1, 2, 3, 4 table headers, so I'm going to duplicate them. 1, 2, 3. Okay, first one is name, thumbnail and ID. Just going to copy and paste it, and again variants, number of variants, availability and price. And let's say you want to add sorting options here, just like you did for the search icon. You can paste the sort icon. Let's say assume that this is a sort icon. I can just paste this here and set this to hug. So if you select any text or anything and go to the right or left, what is that, left thingy, and just double click and it will be set to hug by automatically. So yeah, this is how you do it. Now I'm gonna add all these into an auto layout. Shift A, spacing between them should be 0, and we'll adjust the size accordingly. Now we have this ready. I'm gonna just cut it and add this thing into one more auto layout and paste this inside this. Okay, now I want this to stretch completely, right? For that, I'll go to width and set it to fill. I'll enter once more to select all the layers inside. Now I've selected this, right? So if I click enter once more, I'll select all the elements inside, and I'll also set them as fill so that we have consistent spacing. I know we'll be changing this width, but for now I'm just showing you how to do that. I'll also remove the padding. Sometimes if you add auto layout, the padding will be automatically added, so just ignore that. I'll remove the horizontal padding as well, vertical padding as well. Okay, now we have this. I'm just gonna bring this here. Again, align to the grid, just like this. I know this is lengthy. You can just change the pace to like 1.2 or 1.5x according to your taste. For now, this is it. I also need this. Again, I'll take the auto layout ready here. Add this into one more auto layout. One more auto layout, and again paste this. We need spacing here, right? For that, I'm just gonna duplicate this. Again, don't want to waste time. It is simple. Just need to add some padding like this, and add a stroke and set it to bottom only, something like this, right? So I'm just gonna copy and paste this inside here, cut this and paste. I want this to be horizontal, just like this. Scale it down, the width, As you can see, this bottom color, this stroke color should match this. This is what? Stroke secondary, right? Or what is this? Okay, 500. I'm just gonna say stroke gray 500. Okay, and now I want this to fill horizontally, and again space in between so that it perfectly aligns with this. So this is 2, stroke size is 2, right? Yeah, 2. So I'm just gonna do the same thing here as well. Select all of them and make the stroke 2. Okay, and again I'm gonna completely zero the spacing between, remove all the padding if there is any. Okay, we have this ready. In this design, this is a more of a lighter tone, so if you want that, so I'm just gonna change that again. Select all of them, maybe go to 300, this to 300. Yeah, should be good. This is very light, I don't know what color is that, but I'm gonna stick to 300 for now. Okay, this is ready, and we need a line between both of them. I have created a stroke again. You can just create a stroke and set it to right only. Again I said gray 300, right? So I'm gonna just go gray 300. Add a bit of a right padding, something like I'll press this icon to reveal or to categorize more, or I'll just say 24. So we have the padding here, something like this. Okay, I understood. We don't need to add strokes here. I'll tell you why. I'll remove the stroke and again remove from here also. I can just select this and add one uniform stroke for all the things, right? 2, and again go to gray 300, right? Yeah. Oops, what is wrong with it? Not here. I want to add here, inside, bottom only. What is wrong with it? Let me check. Should be visible because of the clipping mask. Yeah, we have that ready now. I'm just gonna add a right stroke here. I removed that by mistakenly. Inside, 1 should be fine. Gray 300 should be only right? Okay, now we have that ready. This looks good. Let me check if there is any top padding. There is some padding 12, so I'm just gonna add that. Okay, looks good. Just again I'm gonna align this to the grid. See, now if I do this, this is responsive, right? That's why I said to make all of them as fill, so it will be helpful. Okay, I feel like these are very harsh. The stroke is very harsh, so I'm just gonna go to 200 and see if I like that. Change this to 200 also. Not sure, I might change, but for now let's keep it to 200. And now we need to do this thing, the table elements, right? Table cells. For that, again I have the cells ready. Nothing complex. Let's say this is the table cell, this is the table cell. Inside this I need this chip. Let's say I'm just going to copy again and replace this with this, and we have this number counter or whatever variance, which says variant number cell ready. And if I want text, I can just replace with text, And if I want this chip, I have created here, for example, I've created these two chips and added them and made them as a component set. This is out of stock, this is in stock. I'll just gonna copy this and replace this here. So if I want to change this to out of stock, I can just go here and change it to out of stock. Okay, very simple. Okay, and I'll tell you how to create this. You can take this itself, increase the width. For example, this is again one more design. I'll start with the text, one text, two text, both of them added in an auto layout. So I'm just gonna copy this and paste it inside this. I'll also replace this with this. For this, I'll tell you how to create this. Let's say you have 3 images and one text, right? Select all of them, add them in an auto layout. Now set it to wrap. Now if I decrease the size, decrease the width, we should have something like this, right? I'm just going to cut it and paste it inside this. Bring it to the second and maybe change the padding or spacing between to 12. Yeah, looks good, right? So we have this also ready. And now for the arrow, this is a closed representation, and for the open representation, if you see in the original design, when it is open, it indicates something like this to make that differentiation, right? For that, again, I have created a component set, named it as close and this as open, right? And you can just copy and paste this here. Now we have the table cell also ready. What I'll do is I'll take this, this and this and this, select all of them, add them in an auto layout. Not auto layout, sorry, we need multiple rows, right? So don't add them in an auto layout. Select all of them. You can componentize if you want, but I'm not going to do that. I also add a stroke, let's say gray 100, bottom only, right? And we need multiple elements like this. Just gonna copy them, select all of them and add them in an auto layout. Do the same here as well. Duplicate them, duplicate these as well. One more time. Now select all of them, add an auto layout, all of these, add an auto layout, all of these and add an auto layout. Now select all of them. I'll again zero the spacing. We have something like this. Now select all of these and again add an auto layout. Again reduce the spacing to 0. Now we have the table ready, right? If you don't understand, you can just go back and follow the same thing. Now what I'll do is I'll bring this here. To start, I'll also align this with the grid. Now I need this to be stretched towards here, but in the original design, how much spacing did we give? I'll just copy this for now. This is 140, right? So I'm just gonna go with 1 foot, oh not height, sorry. This is 576 or something like that, but we can align, we can use the grid. Something like this. This should be fine. How many did we use? 1, 2, 3, 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, this should be fine. And again, we can match this. This is 24, I guess this is 18, the gutter space. I don't know how much is that. Perfectly align this. Maybe it is 16, I guess, gutter space. So yeah, 16. So just match that. Now I also want this to be aligned exactly here. Okay. Now I'll select all these columns, set them as fill container. Now all of them are occupying similar width, but we want this to have some large width, right? So I'm just going to manually adjust this. Now all of these elements will occupy similar width or share the available width and split them equally, but I don't want that. So I'll just reduce this. I'll tell you why I'm doing this. I'll set this to 100 and this to something like 150. Yeah, should be fine. And this to 200. Yeah, sounds good. And now I'll change this to fill. Now we have all the rest of the space for this only, because names can be long, and if again it extends this space, you can truncate this, but I think this should be good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to see what is the width of this. This is 374, right? So I'm going to select this thing, the first table header, and 374. It was not 374. Oh, 734. Okay, sorry, 734. 734, something like this. And here it was 100. I'm going to set this to 100. This was 150. I'm going to set this 150. This was 200. I'm going to set this to 200. See, now we have a perfectly aligned table headers and the table cells, right? Now what we are going to do is, one second, this should not be happening. Why is this stroke not extending till the bottom? Okay, got it. This is because of fill. Okay, I'll remove that. We don't need fills to this. It was added by default, so I just removed it. Now we have a perfect line that extends towards the height, extends to full height, right? Next thing is we also need a line here. For that, I'm just gonna add stroke here and copy the same thing. You can also select this. If it is like this, you can just select this and paste here, and also set this to the right only, something like this. Clip content, and we should have something like this. Now if I want to duplicate them, it is so simple. Select all of them, all the table cells in one row, and hit on Command D. See? And if you want AI's help to replace the content, I can drag this little AI duplicator icon, and if the content still doesn't change, you can go click on this AI icon and say replace content, and it's going to do its magic, and we will have changed content in place. It messed up somewhere. Yeah, here. I'm going to fix that, but no worries. Why did this happen? Okay, got it. I'm just going to something like this. We change it to 15, and this should be good. Okay. Now we have this ready. I'm going to change few of them as, okay, it also changed this. Nice. I'm just going to select out of stock ones. Out of stock should be in red and in stock should be green, right? Okay, I'm just going to select in stock ones. I added this, by the way. It automatically assumed that out of stock, in stock, and again change the text, but we don't want that. We have the component ready, right? So I'm just going to select that and change it to in. Okay, now what we need to do is we can either create this or this open view, right? So for now we'll just try to create this thing. Again, I can just copy the text here. We also need a very big thumbnail, the basically preview of this thumbnail. I'm just duplicating them just to save some time. I'll show you how to recreate all of them. Okay, and you know how to create them, right? For example, here we did the same thing here, same thing but different text size. So I'm just gonna save time, but I'll show you how to add them into an auto layout. I'm just gonna duplicate them and select all of them, add into an auto layout. I guess the copy icon color is not similar. Here it is N900. Okay, I copied from somewhere else. N900. Okay, it is same, no worries. Select all of them, add in auto layout. Okay, now select both of them and add in an auto layout, and set the spacing to something like 34, something like that. Always remember to use multiples of 4 just to make your designs look really consistent spacing wise. Now select both of these and add in an auto layout. Again, I'll say something like 24. This should be good. I'll just bring this here. Make sure it is aligned to the grid. Okay, we don't have a grid here. We need this to be 16. Okay, it is 24. That is fine. Okay, I'll just make sure it is aligned towards the right. Okay, now we have this ready. I'm gonna create these two chips. Here again you can use similar buttons but a smaller ones. Chips you can do the round. I'll go with the round. For example, here let's say this is a chip 1 unselected and chip 2 selected, and I can just fill it up with black color. Where do we have black color? I'll just go with this and change this to white. Okay, now we have a selected and unselected chip. What was the first thing? Essential details. I'm just gonna copy this, paste it here, and we also have the all media, right? Now if you remember, I told how to set this hug, right? You can just double click to set it as hug, but I also need some padding, maybe like 18. Yeah, should be fine. I'll also set this to hug 18, right? I like the rounded chips more, the tabs, not chips, sorry, tabs. But anyway, this was in design system, so I'm not going to change that. And next thing is we again need to create this table. For that, I'm just gonna use the table headers I already have. Also remove this fill here, and again we have these things, table cells, right? I'll show you how to create this. See, these are all components ready-made, but I'm not going to use them. I'll detach them. Detach instance. Okay, again these are simple table cells with more height because we have more content here, something like this, right? And select these two and add in an auto layout. Select these two, add in an auto layout. Select these two and add in an auto layout. I don't have much of a complex requirement here, but again you can do the same thing that we did here. You know, add this as separate auto layout, and again all of them in a separate auto layout. But for now I'm just gonna use this, make sure it is left aligned, add them in an auto layout. Right, I'm just gonna set this to fill because we want the entire horizontal space to be covered. Add a stroke, it was gray 300, so I'm just gonna copy that, gray 300, bottom only, right, something like this. It was 2, right? Your design should be consistent across pages, across sections. So we are making a similar design here. If you are working in a company or scalable designs, these should be components, so you just have to drag and drop and change the content. But for now I'm just gonna do this way. I'll also select and completely zero the spacing in between. Now I can just duplicate them, something like this. Again, if you want AI's help, you can again change the content. Go here. What was that? Rewrite this. Replace content, sorry. Replace content. Something like this. Okay, that was a mess up. I changed the CTA here. I'm just gonna add, as we have our primary color purple, I'm just gonna change it to purple. Copy this and replace it everywhere. I'm just gonna select all of them. Command Shift R, replace everywhere. See, simple. Just gonna bring that up here. We have more details, just like missing chips. I'm also gonna use that one here just to make it more realistic. Missing, right? And now I'm gonna add both of them into an auto layout. Make sure the spacing is similar to both of them. This is 24, 24, and increase the spacing between both of these sections. Again, add them in an auto layout and maybe change it to 28 or 34, something like this. Now we have this also ready. Now we need to create this open section. This is very simple again. We need to create different cell items here, table cell items here. For just, again, I'm gonna copy this and show you what I did. I'll also take this one for the reference. Am I audible? I hope I'm audible. I don't want to find out when I'm editing. Okay, see, once this thing is opened, I'll say open. We want to show that differentiation, right? Let's say this is it from the start. What I'll do is I'll select this. In the right or the left padding, I'm just gonna add plus 18 and we should have something like this ready. For the text, again, it is same, and for the image, you can, let's say I copy this, paste it here, extend or adjust the size, something like this, and we have this ready. Okay, now again the rest of the items are similar. I'm just gonna copy and paste them. I think we messed up here. This should be the price and this should be the availability. This is the availability, right? Just gonna paste this here. Okay, price is here. I can change this here and again change this, change the position, change the, I'll also remove this, remove the fill here just like we did there. This stroke was not visible because if you see, this is set to inside, this is inside this container, and now since there is no padding at all, this thing is occupying the entire space. See, this is covering this, so if there was a fill, if there is a fill, it is not showing up. That's the reason. I also want this to fill. Why is there a padding? Okay, we set up some padding 16, that should be fine. It looks good. Anyway, where were we? We want to create this open item, right? Open view, right? So I'm just gonna copy this. I guess the video is like more than an hour lengthy. I'm creating this for the very first time. Sorry guys if I'm doing anything wrong. So I'm gonna select all of them, add them in an auto layout, right? I don't need to add them in an auto layout. I'll say why. We have the auto layout already. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select the child cell, and let's say I'm gonna paste this inside here. Bring up somewhere I want to show the open view. Let's say this one. Change this icon to open. Now this represents the open view, and again replace the next elements with this. For example, let's say this. For the child cells, the height is more, so that's why you see this differentiation. I have them here, so I'm just gonna add them in their respective row or respective columns. 1, 2, and 3. Again select all of them, bring it up. Okay, now we have one open view ready. So I'm gonna just select all of them again, hold shift, select all of them and duplicate them. Now we have the open view. If you see here, when it is open there is no stroke here, just to differentiate that all of these items are in one single parent item, right? So I'm just gonna select all these cells and remove the stroke. That's it. Now we have this ready. I'm just gonna add a stroke here, a bottom stroke, just to differentiate that this is the end. Bottom stroke should be gray 300. Okay. If you want, you can add differentiator strokes here as well, but in the original designs they were not there. So I'm just gonna see how it looks. Bottom only, grade 300. It looks bad, that's why I did not add in the original design. Okay, I'm gonna ignore them. Okay, what else is there? Okay, so we need to make one selection so that we have the preview here. See, select an item or variant to see the preview. So we have to make one item as selected, one row as selected. I'm gonna select all of them. Since we are doing purple here, I'm gonna go with purple 50. 50 is way too bright, so I'm gonna detach it. Do something like this. This should be good. And we also have an icon here just to differentiate. We don't need this, basically might mislead sometimes, make it look like clickable, which we don't need, but for the demonstration I'm going to show it. Detach this and add it here. So yeah, our design is ready. What else is pending? Okay, I guess that's it. Now let's say the height is, this is not the original height of course, let's say the height is something like this, and this thing should be scrollable. So hope you got something out of today's video. I know it was very lengthy, it was my very first time creating such long tutorials, sorry for that, but I really hope that you got something out of today's video. If you like this, share this video with your designer friends and hit that subscribe button for more such amazing content, and do suggest more content topics or what do you want me to make videos on in the comment section. See you in the next one.